The Philippines is on an amazing growth streak. It's one of the fastest growing economies in the world, and it's seeing huge expansions in infrastructure, new technology, and shopping. This growth is not just changing the economy, it's also catching the attention of global investors and businesses who want to be part of this rapidly modernizing country. Cities all across the Philippines are changing at a crazy pace. Manila, the capital, is already full of tall skyscrapers and is ranked 11th in the world for the number of tall buildings, just behind Bangkok and Jakarta. But the skyline is still waiting for its biggest, most impressive skyscraper that will really put the Philippines on the map. Sure, tall buildings have become normal in places like Makati, Ortigas, Alabang, Cebu, and Davao, but the race to build even taller buildings is far from over. Now construction is spreading out from just the capital city, and development is happening in the provinces too. The skyline of Metro Manila has grown both outward and upward, powered by private real estate investments and a strong economy. The whole country is in the middle of a building boom that's changing more than just the city views. It's changing how the world sees the Philippines. Still, something's missing. For people who love architecture and cities, there's a question that lingers. Why doesn't the Philippines have a signature super tall tower? A building that would cement its place alongside iconic skylines like New York, Dubai, or Shanghai? Believe it or not, this story started over a century ago. Back in 1912, the 8-story Manila Hotel redefined the city's skyline, signaling the start of modern tall buildings in the country. Then, in 1996, the Pacific Plaza condominium in Makati became the Philippines' first true skyscraper, standing over 150 meters tall. That marked a new chapter of reaching for the skies, though it's since been dwarfed by newer, taller buildings. But the story doesn't end there. The next chapter? It might be the most exciting one yet. The next big wave of tall building development in the Philippines started in the 1970s, and it didn't take long for areas like Ortigas, Quezon City, Mandaluyong, and Pasig to turn into booming city centers. Big companies like the Gokongwei Group poured in money that reshaped these districts. Shopping malls, offices for tech companies, and factories started popping up across the skyline, and the pace hasn't slowed down since. But Makati City remained the crown jewel. As the financial heart of Metro Manila, it quickly filled with towering buildings, including what became the country's most iconic structure for almost 2 decades, the PBCom Tower. At 259 meters, it ruled the skyline from the moment it opened. Before that, Makati was mostly low-rise buildings from the 60s and 70s, but when the government lifted height restrictions in the 90s, developers seized the chance to build big and build tall. Suddenly, the same land was giving 3 times the space, and the city shot upward. Today, 45-story towers are becoming normal, and many are even taller. But the real spotlight has shifted to Taguig, and more specifically, Bonifacio Global City. Once a military base called Fort Bonifacio or Fort McKinley, this area was privatized in 1992 and has since exploded into a symbol of modern urban growth. For years, no building had reached 300 meters. Not until Taguig changed the game. In 2008, the city announced plans for a 66-story tower that would finally take the title from the long-reigning PBCom Tower. That vision came true in 2018 when the Grand Hyatt Manila officially opened. Standing at a whopping 318 meters, it became the Philippines' tallest building, and it still holds that title. As of mid-2022, Makati is still in the lead with 75 skyscrapers over 150 meters tall. Taguig follows with 40 and Mandaluyong with 32. But the skyline crown belongs to Taguig's Grand Hyatt Manila. It's followed by Makati's PBCom Tower at 258.6 meters and Trump Tower Manila at 250.7 meters. And with more big projects on the way, the race for the skies in the Philippines is far from over. Since the Grand Hyatt Manila took the top spot in 2018, no other building has been built that's taller, but there have been plenty of bold ideas trying to reach new heights. The ambition to build something really, really big actually started much earlier. Back in 1996, the country unveiled plans for what would have been a game changer, the Centennial Tower, also known as Luneta Tower. This wasn't just another office building, it was meant to be a 390-meter monument to mark the 100th anniversary of Philippine independence, nearly twice as tall as the tallest building at the time. Originally, it was supposed to be built in historic Rizal Park in Manila, but public complaints about the site's cultural importance forced the project to move to Pasig City instead. A big German construction company called Walter Bau AG was going to build and pay for the $200 million project, with plans to finish it by 1998. The president at the time, Fidel V. Ramos, hesitated to approve the project, and even moving it to a different site didn't help. The Centennial Tower never got built, a crushing disappointment for people who were hoping to see the Philippines make its mark on the global skyline. But the dream for a tall tower didn't die for long. In the early 2000s, a new idea emerged: Sky City. Proposed as an 80-story skyscraper in Mandaluyong, it was a partnership between two companies. Once again, the nation dared to dream big. Sky City was supposed to change everything. At 335 meters tall, it was designed to be taller than any other building in the Philippines. It was going to be a mixed-use marvel with a hotel, offices, and luxury homes. A vertical city in the heart of Mandaluyong. But shortly after the plans were announced, a neighborhood group filed a lawsuit to stop it. Still, the developers didn't give up. In 2005, the Philippine Court of Appeals ruled in their favor. The path was clear, or so it seemed. By 2008, the only progress was a big hole in the ground. No steel, no concrete, no tower. In 2010, the Supreme Court sided with the developers again, officially clearing the way. Sky City was reimagined as a 77-story skyscraper with 8 basement levels. But despite the legal victories, the tower never got built. Today, the empty pit at Ortigas Avenue and EDSA stands as a reminder of a dream that never came true, a disappointment for people who imagined the country's tallest building reaching for the clouds. But that wasn't the end of the Philippines' vertical dreams. In the late 2000s, another giant entered the picture, Paycor Tower, envisioned to rise 650 to 655 meters near Manila Bay in Parañaque City. It wasn't just aiming to be the tallest in the country, it was going for the second tallest in the world, behind only the Burj Khalifa in Dubai. Paycor Tower was supposed to be the centerpiece of a new entertainment and casino complex called Entertainment City Manila, designed to turn Manila into a global entertainment hub. The project was backed by a powerful Malaysian company called Genting Berhad and promised to deliver something the country had never seen before. But by 2010, the dream started to fade. When a new chairman took over the government's gaming agency, he signaled that the tower, along with several other mega projects, might be cancelled. One big issue? Its location close to the Manila airport, where strict height rules made the project nearly impossible. In the end, Paycor Tower was scrapped. The huge building never got built, but the area it was meant to anchor, Entertainment City, has since blossomed. Still, for many, the question lingers. When will the Philippines finally build its own defining super-tall skyscraper? The foundations may have been laid, literally, but the sky has yet to be claimed. Another bold vision, aimed at transforming the Philippine skyline, was the Philippine Diamond Tower, a massive broadcast and observation tower planned for Quezon City. Slated to rise 612 meters high on the former Manila Seedling back property, this tower was meant to be more than just tall. It was designed to be a national symbol. The deliberate height of 612 meters was a tribute to June 12, Philippine Independence Day. The groundbreaking was originally scheduled for October 2014, aligning with Quezon City's 75th anniversary. Construction was set to begin in 2015, with public access by 2018 and full completion by 2019. The city government even passed legislation to support the project. By 2016, interest had gone international. Japan's ICT Development Agency expressed support, and reports suggested China was also interested in bidding. With a projected cost of 41.4 billion pesos, all signs pointed to a game-changing centerpiece for the capital. But then, silence. Despite the global attention and ideal location, the project was quietly shelved. No official explanation followed. Like the Centennial Tower and Pecor Tower before it, the Philippine Diamond Tower never broke ground, leaving another gap in what could have been the country's defining skyline. Meanwhile, over in Bonifacio Global City, another super-tall idea was being sketched, the Icon Tower. Originally planned to reach 308 meters, the design was later scaled down to 275 meters with 36 floors. But height wasn't its only feature. The Icon Tower was imagined as a resilient, modern structure, shaped like an elliptical cone to withstand earthquakes and typhoons, with an almost Gothic facade supported by arches and lots of natural light. Social spaces, open-air terraces, and atriums were all part of the architectural vision. Its striking design made headlines, and it was expected to be completed by 2021. But now, years later, progress appears to have stalled. No updates, no construction, just another bold idea stuck in limbo. Far from the capital, in Puerto Princesa, Palawan, a new vision took shape in 2018. The Princesa Tower, announced by the city government, was intended to rise 680 meters high, taller than any Philippine project before it. The tower was envisioned as a global landmark, with two potential sites considered: the Santa Lucia Environmental Estate and a spot in front of the city's new Green City Hall. And even in Mindanao, dreams of a super-tall building. Each of these proposals carried sky-high ambition, international interest, and the promise of putting the Philippines on the map for architectural excellence. But as of now, none have been built. What remains is the question, when will one of these visions finally become reality? The Princesa Tower was originally set to be completed within 5 years, but like so many other ambitious projects before it, updates dried up. Today, the future of these sky-high dreams remains uncertain, with no clear path forward. According to the Council on Tall Buildings and Urban Habitat, the world has officially entered the era of mega-tall buildings, structures that soar above 1,968 feet, 600 meters. Right now, only 3 of these architectural giants exist. Burj Khalifa in Dubai, still the tallest in the world at 2,717 feet, 828 meters, completed in 2010. Shanghai Tower in China, standing at 2,073 feet, 632 meters, completed in 2015. Mecca Royal Clock Tower in Saudi Arabia at 1,972 feet, 601 meters, finished in 2012. But this exclusive club is growing. Projects like the Ping An Finance Center in Shenzhen, the Wuhan Greenland Center, Merdeka 118 in Kuala Lumpur, and the Kingdom Tower in Jeddah are rising fast, pushing architecture into uncharted territory. Across Southeast Asia, countries like Malaysia and Vietnam are charging ahead with the next generation of towers. Meanwhile, the Philippines is still playing catch-up. So what's holding it back? The answer lies in a perfect storm of environmental and logistical challenges. First, there's the weather. The Philippines is hit by an average of 20 typhoons every year, and about 5 of those are really destructive. Engineering a super-tall structure that can withstand those winds isn't just expensive, it's risky. Then there's the ground itself. The Philippines sits right on the Pacific Ring of Fire, one of the most earthquake-prone zones in the world. Metro Manila, the capital, is dangerously close to a major fault line. That's a big problem for developers when it comes to building higher than ever before. And if the natural hazards weren't enough, there's also bureaucracy and red tape. For example, the main airport in Manila is located right near the business hubs, creating strict height restrictions across key development zones. Getting permits for a high-rise is no easy task either. The process involves 29 separate steps and can take nearly 3 months just to get the approvals. Add to that the country's reliance on imported materials and foreign partners due to its island geography, and the costs and delays pile up quickly. Despite its economic boom and hunger for development, the Philippines continues to face hurdles that make building a record-break. While shipping goods in and out of the Philippines is relatively affordable, getting them where they need to go takes longer than the global average. That's partly because Metro Manila, the country's political and economic center, suffers from poor urban planning. Constant traffic jams, unpredictable routes, and long commutes make it a logistical nightmare and a tough place for businesses. Then there's the investment climate. In 2020, the Philippines ranked third most restrictive in the OECD's Foreign Direct Investment Index out of 84 countries. Add to that some of the highest electricity rates in Asia, and it's no wonder businesses are worried. During peak summer months, power shortages and rising rates are a major concern. In fact, electricity in the Philippines can cost 25% to 87% more than in neighboring countries. And we can't ignore the big issue of corruption. Over 60% of top Filipino business leaders say tackling corruption should be the government's top priority to attract foreign investment. It's a long-standing problem, and a serious one. There's also a major infrastructure gap. Investors need to be sure that once a building is finished, it will have tenants. Nobody wants to fund a mega skyscraper that ends up empty. Add in high material costs, long construction timelines, often over a decade, and shifting market conditions, and you've got a recipe for risk. That's why some argue that bigger isn't always better. While super-tall skyscrapers can boost national pride and global attention, they're not the only way to grow. The good news? The Philippine economy is already booming, with growth outpacing many of its neighbors. Industries are thriving across the country, and cities like Cebu, Davao, and Pampanga are quickly becoming business hotspots. And here's a game changer. A new Manila International Airport is on the way, just 35 kilometers north of the capital. Once it opens, the height restrictions around Manila's business districts could ease, finally clearing the way for an iconic, skyline-defining skyscraper. So, will the Philippines rise to the challenge? One thing's certain, the foundation has already been laid. If you enjoyed this, be sure to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Could the next great super tall tower rise in the heart of the Philippines? Let's talk about it.